So here we are on day 8. This is day 7. It was a really big snowstorm, so obviously I wanted to take the day off. So this is now day 8. This is the first time he got to meet Meatloaf through the fence. And Meatloaf is, or he tries to be boss. But I like that my guy just stood there and didn't really care at all that Meatloaf was being sassy. Shoots down so he can play outside when the weather's nice. I didn't really know what we were going to do on this day, so we just started with taking the chute down. So this was the first time he got to play in the dry lot connected to his stall. So we started out by just letting him run around a little bit because he took day 7 off, so I thought he deserved a little bit of playtime. This was the first time I ever saw him lay down. And we also figured out why he had mud caked on the side of his face. He likes playing chase.
You're too big to play with me.
I like that he was showing a lot of interest in us, even though Meatloaf was still standing over there, along with the other horses. You can see the other horses in the corner.
He doesn't care.
So I decided that I wanted to do something, but I wanted to keep it simple because it was so cold. So we did bag work, which I had done bag work on day 5, I think. And I just didn't put it in that video. I think it was day 5. But I added those clear strips of shavings plastic on there. So he spooked because it went to the other side of his back, which I didn't get to do a whole bunch of bag work before this day. So I wanted to do a lot of that today, just to kind of keep it simple. So since that scared him on his other side, I just kept it to the one side for a while. And when I first start off getting it closer to him, I keep the bag shaking energy kind of low. So I do like slower shakes until he's comfortable with it. I liked there how he took a step towards it because he wanted to investigate. I also had been thinking about when would be an appropriate time to start picking up his back feet, and I kept trying to think of ways to get started on them. And I noticed that I had kind of neglected desensitizing around his back end a lot. So I knew I wanted to start really paying attention to doing more desensitizing around his back end so that he wouldn't feel like he needed to protect it when it came time for me to start picking up his feet. So you'll see a lot in this video. I'm doing a lot more bag work around his back end because I really wanted him to feel comfortable with that. And this was also the first day that I did a lot of work without him having a lead rope on. And this was the first day that I really started to try to get him to latch on to me. And I really wanted to get him to come when called. So I work on that a lot today too. And it made me have to really work on keeping his attention and get him to want to stand there and learn instead of just walking off and not paying attention. So here I start trying to get him to see it on his other side without it being all the way over on his other side. And I thought he did really good there, so patted him. So when I start on the other side, I start back out far away again. Get him used to the noises, and I have the bag shaking energy high since it's not touching him. He doesn't mind the noise so much until it's touching him. And I liked that he came to me, but that wasn't what he was supposed to be doing right there. So I just stepped to the side and kept doing that and ignored it. And there he spooked, but I didn't really react. And I think I had called him back in, and he ended up over there by the fence. So I just went straight back to it. And since I made him uncomfortable, I just start back out again. And he let me touch his side and he didn't react, so I released. And here I just made sure I was out of his way when he spooked, and I would go right back to it. It was kind of hard for me to work him when he was facing at a weird angle. So I drew him back in and rewarded him for coming back into me again. And I was working him in this particular way because of the wind was pushing the bag towards him when I would stand on this side, so I didn't want to fight the wind to get the bag against him. And there he didn't seem like he cared that I was standing there, so I just jumped out of the way and try to go right back to it. He was getting really flustered on this side, so I did my best just to ignore it and keep going. And I like that he's facing up, but I feel like sometimes he thinks facing me and getting really close to me is going to mean that I'm going to stop working him because he's drawing in, and that's not the case. So there I kind of had to push him away and get him to stop facing me. And I liked that he stood there and let me touch him with it, so I had let him release. And since he was so uncomfortable when it would get close to him, I kept my energy really low with touching him with the bag there. And there he flinched, and I liked that, so that he didn't run away, just that he flinched. And so I touched him with the bag one last time and released. And here, he's not trying to get away. I think it was because the other horses were over there and he was wanting some water. So I followed him, and he was showing some interest in the bag. But I went ahead and released because he was comfortable enough to go and get a drink while I was doing it. So then when he was done and he happened to face this way, I wanted to do a lot more back end work, like I said. So I was doing a lot of high energy shaking behind him. And when he moved, I didn't want to stop what I was doing, so I just kept doing it. And then when I figured out that he was not uncomfortable, I released. And the first time I worked with the bag, he didn't like it touching his front legs, and he actually struck out at it. And I didn't get that on video from the first time. So there I kind of pushed him away because I didn't want him thinking that just because he shows interest in the bag or he touches the bag, that it's going to automatically go away. Because I think that's what he was trying to do a few times. Because as you can see, he ripped the bag because he grabbed a hold of it when he was showing interest in it. And I had released on that when he showed interest in it. I didn't want him thinking that that's what he needed to do, was just touch it to make it go away. And here's where I start working a little more on that latch on, but I didn't want to stop using the bag. I wanted him to come to me even though I was still playing with the bag. And I kind of decided on patting my leg when I want him to come to me because I think he was getting confused with the different sounds of clucking, so I wanted to use a lighter clucking noise for him to come to me, but it didn't really seem to grab his attention, and he really responded well to me patting my leg. So I stuck with that, and it seems to be working well. Here he was letting me show the bag on the other side, which I really liked, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit more. And as you can see, I start with my energy pretty low. I'm not coming at him really, really fast or anything. And I thought he did really well, so I was working it up his neck and around his face a little. And it spooked him there because I think it got around his right eye, even though I was standing on his left. So I just went right back. And worked my way up again. And he did really good, so I released. Still trying to get him to latch on and pay attention to me. I think he was getting tired / bored. And videos of my puppies playing in the snow, because why not?
Cricket! Call him.
And that's it for this video, so stay tuned for the next one. Bye.